All right, everyone. Clinton was having one of those like fake interpersonal chats before a supposedly grassroots audience the other day, and she said something very funny. I think it was Rachel Maddow that was talking to her, but I'm not 100% sure because who gives a fuck. But this pundit or politician, whatever the fuck it was, I know she talked to Krugman not long ago. No, that was Nancy Pelosi, actually. They all look alike. They all sound alike, certainly policy-wise. That's part of the joke. See, what happened is the host, again, whoever it was, mistook Eric Holder and Cory Booker, like ascribed to Cory Booker, what Eric Holder had said about kicking people in the head when they go low and stuff. And Hillary Clinton's like, oh no, that was Eric Holder. Yeah, I know they all look alike. To great applause by the audience, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, can you imagine in a million years if Trump were being talked to? Let's say Trump's on fucking Tucker Carlson or something. Tucker Carlson mistakes Cory Booker and Eric Holder, and Trump were to say that. It would be front page news in the entire world. Everyone would be howling for impeachment, saying this is the evidence we've so long waited for, that Donald Trump is a total, virulent, bitter, despicable, irredeemable, deplorable, piece of shit, cocksucking racist. You know that that's exactly what they would say. And yet Hillary Clinton, who is also old and white, in fact about the same age, she gets a pass. It's not even spoken of. Like, I think Breitbart mentioned it. I think it was briefly mentioned on Twitter by Fox, and they were basically just yucking it up. And here's the thing. I'm not sure that Hillary Clinton intended literally, it would be very odd, even Alzheimer's Hillary, if she were to very publicly acknowledge the fact that she does probably think that way. Look, between hot sauce in the handbag and super predators and all the other references she's made throughout time, she's a very white person. Extremely white. Like plantation crone white. As in sipping sweet tea and watching the help mow the lawn white. You get it, like Southern Belle white, and not in the good ways. So I can imagine in private conversation, yeah, I mean, she probably thinks that way. By the way, I mean, she thinks the way she does. She's a product of her time. I don't give a fuck. But for her to come out and say this publicly, she doesn't take a shellacking for it whatsoever. If Trump were to say it, despite the fact he's the opposite of Southern comfort sort of family. He's total cold New York fucking Manhattan businessman. He doesn't care what race you are as long as he can cheat you out of money, basically. In all honesty, that's the way a Manhattan businessman has to think to survive. He would get considered the next grand dragon of the Klan. And then I found it funny, again, it's very funny. Trump disavows, during the campaign, he disavows David Duke, but he takes him 10 minutes, and that's a huge problem and a national scandal. Hillary Clinton is never called on to disavow her former KKK Grand Dragon mentor. Never called on to disavow that. For the record, by the way, I don't give a fuck who people associate with. If they have, bigoted friends or something, that doesn't necessarily make them bigoted. Bannon probably has his own views. That doesn't mean that Trump necessarily has them. Look, Trump's in the Republican Party. He's rubbing elbows with people that literally were, raised in dirt floor Appalachia and stuff like that. Yeah, there are probably people there that care more about the race issue than Donald Trump does. As someone who was born in Brooklyn, he's a product of the same sort of atmosphere, ironically, as someone like Bernie Sanders. He just decided he was going to make money instead of be lazy. That's the only real difference. That and he's half a decade younger, maybe. But Hillary Clinton, I mean, think about this joke being made by any Republican and imagine the fallout. Or even if it was made by a libertarian, anyone who's not a Democrat, in other words. Just think, if Jill Stein made such a reference, it'd be front page news. Oh, see, all you far leftists, this is why you side with the Democrats. Look at how racist these evil Green Party members are. Oh, libertarian says it. Oh, yeah, we knew that they were secretly far-right Republicans. They only like liberty in name only. They're just bitter racists. They're so racist that the Republican Party won't let them in. Can you imagine? It would be funny. The real joke wouldn't be Trump telling it. The real joke would be the media fallout thereafter. And they wouldn't even wait. They wouldn't even wait for the fucking true media cycle. They would start dogpiling him the day of. It wouldn't matter if it was a midnight speech. They would immediately write and post those articles. They'd shitpost it on Twitter like a fucking small army. And the next day, everyone would be hearing Trump evil, Orange man bad. Just like with this shooter. The shooter's a never-Trumper, essentially. But no, it's still Trump's fault. Trump is now influencing even those that dislike him to be violent. That's how absolutely one-dimensional the media wants to portray him as being. But it's not Trump that's saying that all black men look alike, or at least insinuating that. What exactly did Hillary Clinton actually mean? That's the whole thing. Like, I guess the host found it worth a mild chuckle, a sensible chuckle. The crowd thought it was funny. What exactly, though, was actually being implied? Are you talking about, were you trying to do sort of a double take there? As though, you're like mocking racism or something? It didn't come off that way. Legitimately, it didn't come off that way. It came off as though you were saying it in a more serious light. Are you referring to males? Well, that would be sexism, but, not recognized sexism. Silicon Valley won't deplatform you for that side of sexism, generally speaking. Or are you being racist? Like with Hillary Clinton, again, she said things that seem to be racially tinged in the past. She indeed has. The super predators comments she made back in the tough on crime era when her hubby was in politics were very bigoted at the time. They were even considered a little bit odd by a lamestream back then. They're considered more odd in retrospect because culture has shifted away from neoliberaldom in favor of far leftism, in favor of, hey, let's ignore every pragmatic issue on the actual ground and ignore the working class too. We're just going to fixate on moral issues now because they get us money. They get us more grassroots votes, and they get us corporate money because corporations don't want to be called evil and despicable and deplorable and racist. So they'll come and they'll basically, like we're mafia dons, they'll pay us protection money. We won't call you racist if you donate to our presidential campaign, in other words. It's basically like mafia politics. The fucking Democratic Party has become like a criminal syndicate more than anything. Meanwhile, the Republicans haven't gotten wise enough to do such things. They're still trying to campaign the normal way. Other than Trump, he just doesn't care. So he just throws aside decorum and says, I'm not playing your game. You're playing checkers. I'm playing 4D chess. That's about all. Peace out.